The biggest altcoin season, super cycle, rich, wealthy, abundant moment is about to happen. It is currently loading. And my friend, you need to make sure that you are 100% part of the Crypto Bliss community, because that's the one place on YouTube where you're going to find out exactly what potential coins could be lining up for an absolutely explosive movement. Now, just remember this, right? First of all, altcoins tend to follow a pattern. First, Bitcoin runs, then Ethereum runs, then the top blue chip crypto altcoins run, then the medium kind of coins run, and then your high risk coins, your shit coins, all of that runs, boom, recycle back into Bitcoin. Now, my friends, I appreciate you being here with me today, because all day, every day, I am thinking about you. I'm thinking about what content to give you, and I don't just want to give you slapdash videos. So that's why I give you rather quality over quantity at this moment. So if you appreciate that, please share some love with me down in the video down below. Give the video a thumbs up, and let's move on right now. Currently doing a little bit of a pullback. You can see that we've had a bit of a bearish pullback here. Whoop-de-doo, right? Yes, whoop-de-doo, because we have lower lows and, of course, higher highs here, which, my friend, is telling us that we're actually finding some support around this 104, 105,000 level on the 10 moving average. Now, what does that mean? Our next move up is going to be very, very quick, and it's probably going to be, as you can see here, between 125,000 to 130,000. I'm going to say to you, and let's even put a nice box in here so that we all actually know. Boom, there's our box, right? Okay, oops. And how interesting is it now that when we're looking at this, this is actually, as you can see, we're going to follow the M2. So the next move up is going to take us up slowly. But here's where we're probably going to get the next rally. So by mid-June, we're probably going to have a massive movement up here into the zone. We're going to hit resistance on this 1.618 level, as you can see, taking place here. We're going to have a decent deep pullback, probably to where we are around this breakout zone of 110K, before we have a next breakout above this zone and then start to continue the pattern up. Now, my friends, I'm okay for this to take its sweet time, because the slower it goes up, the longer the cycle is. Okay. Now, I'm sure you'd appreciate that if you've been in crypto for as long as I have, because it gives you time in the market, which is actually how you build financial wealth and financial freedom. So if you appreciate that, show some love and care for the channel. Now, here's the interesting fact. You can see that Bitcoin is building a inverse head and shoulders pattern. The target is up to 200K quite easily. Very, very simple, beautiful, delicious move heading up. Let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. I see it at 300K. You guys know my target, but a lot of people are calling between 220 to 250K this cycle. I do believe that that is where we're heading. Not only that, it's true. The biggest altcoin season of this cycle is loading. The RSI and the MACD are both in confluence. So whoop, whoop, shake them hands, shake them hands. Shake some hands for me down. Now you can see the MACD is bouncing off. The green is coming up. And the stochastic RSI has not yet, the RSI has been, a little bit of a funny place. And this is obviously BTC dominance. So we're going to see a bit of a pullback down here. I believe that altcoin season is about to absolutely pop off. And here is why. First of all, I dig this post from Decode Josh, shout out. My estimate for Bitcoin cycle peak is a minimum Q4 2025. You all know that my target is 25 October 2025, which is the end of Q3, basically. So, and as I said at the beginning of this video, I believe there could be potential for us to have an extended cycle. So likely coming into 2026. That doesn't mean we can't have wild swings in the meantime, but the adoption cycle is very strong, and I think the larger trend will remain pointing higher for longer. There again is the confirmation, my friend, of the longer potential cycle, which means it gives you more time in the market, which means you'd probably be able to, if you're knowing how, and that's why you would subscribe to the Crypto Bliss community, how to navigate through the cycle. Here is why. And we've got a few more days to go here, and each bar is a 3-week bar, okay? We've still got a few more weeks to go ahead before we even get into the green side of the MACD here. Look at how that coincides with massive upswings. Look at here how it coincides with massive upswings. And as it starts to peak out and we get the first light green candle, isn't it so interesting that that's the moment that you need to actually get out of the market? Okay, it's telling you get out. That's time to sell, my friends. I would absolutely and undoubtedly take profits at those moments. And you can see we're not even, because we're somewhat in this zone. We haven't built up to get to the green yet. We haven't built up. We're going there though. So the sell pressure is diminishing, and we're coming to massive buy pressure into Bitcoin over this next season. My friends, I believe we're about to potentially see a massive rally. It doesn't mean we're not. I mean, look at this. Just from here, okay, where we are, we're at a pump, a pullback, a pump, a pullback, a pump, a capitulation, pump, capitulation, pump, capitulation, pump, drop hard. So expect the swings and the volatility. That's just what it's going to be. And I just need to point out one more thing before I move on. Forget this here. Look at this. This. So this peak, and this peak are consecutively getting higher. Means that there's more liquidity, more buying pressure coming in after the immense sell pressure. And now have a look at this, okay? Have a look at this right here. The sell baseline is also increasing. My friends, I'm the first on YouTube, on the internet, to talk about that right now. What does that look like? That essentially on the MACD is a broadening wedge type pattern, okay? Well, it's not quite broadening, but it's an uptrending, meaning that there is a higher ceiling of buy pressure possibly seeking to come in this cycle. I'd love to hear what you think about that. For now, let us go and see where we're at in the market. First of all, the Bitcoin alt season. Okay, Bitcoin and alt season. Altcoin season hasn't begun. We need that first dominance to start to collapse. Once dominance starts to collapse, and you can see it does not sit down here for very long at all, okay? It sits here for a short moment and then bam, it's out like a trampoline or a caddy, okay? It is coming. Altcoin season is about to go insanely, absolutely, ridiculously parabolic. And if you're not positioned on what I'm about to share with you, man, I can't help you. You can't even help yourself. First of all, I want to have a look at this particular chart. It's a different chart to my usual chart, okay, that I showed you earlier on. This is a 3-week chart, somewhat navigating and using the MACD oscillation, etc., to pull in here. I just want to point out something very specific, and I know this chart is so busy right now. That's not what I'm looking at. Right now, what I want you to focus on is this area and this area, okay? Why does that matter? Well, first of all, that is essentially the W that we continuously speak about. That W is a breakout out of the previous all-time high. That W is also Wing on the stochastic RSI, meaning that this breakout right here, somewhat of the neckline, we need to get up to this 120, okay? Once we break out of that area, my friends, have a freaking look at this level. I believe we could potentially and possibly even go much higher than what we've been saying. Out of that W pattern, we could see 175, 180K quite easily. I'm sure you can see the evidence is starting to play up. So let's remove all the lines from this very, very busy chart. Let's move on. Coin number one is Brett. Have a look at Brett from a macro perspective here with me right now. Of course, we've got double bottom, okay? The MACD is getting ready to break up. The stochastic has started. We have also come back up to the blue line, the 200 moving average. We've broken up, and we are now currently hovering on the daily time frame. Have a look at that. We are bouncing currently in between this the 200 and the 100. My friends, that's a very strong signal to tell us right now that we are looking for a much higher level. Yes, we kind of going to sit here for a moment. So within this zone on Brett would be an ideal place to take a trade. Once we do see that happen and unfold, well, my friends, have a look at this. Look at that potential side swing. Now, you should come over and use my Bybit link below. Get yourself up to $30,000 deposit bonus, and let's trade these coins. These coins that I'm speaking about with you right now, I am going to make sure that I have entered these trades within the next couple hours to 24 hours at most, okay? I'm positioning myself with those right now. Yes, my Dodge trade is down. I will add to it because why wouldn't I right now? We are at the pinnacle point of an absolute explosion. And that's why you need to look at the patterns that are forming within Bitcoin, most importantly, because the moment Bitcoin breaks up, the moment Ethereum breaks up, okay, we will see an absolute roar of price action, okay? Yes, these kind of candles are essentially shooting star candles, and they tell us that there should be a pullback. Even if we pull back down to 2445, my friend, we're still higher, creating higher lows and higher highs. I don't really care. All I care about right now is that in this position of squeeze between 2,700 and 2,400, I will be accumulating in this trade. Once that is done, woo-wee, upwards and onwards in abundance. Coin number two, of course. So we've spoken about Bitcoin. We've spoken about Ethereum. We have spoken about Brett. We are now speaking about XRP. XRP is doing the same thing. Stochastic down. MACD getting ready to break up. Finding solid support way above the 200. But really on the 100 above this area on this box. Simple pattern for XRP. But you're going to go, oh, but Kiara, did you not sell your XRP a little while ago? I'm going to tell you, I did sell a chunk of my XRP, okay? I sold a chunk of my XRP. You guys know that I did that video for you not so long ago. I'll leave it pinned in the cards above for you. However, XRP, I still have a small bag of XRP, okay? I changed it into Hype, and I'm already 3x up on Hype. So if you followed me on that trade, you would be in a winning position right now. If you appreciate that, then make sure you're subscribed to the Crypto Bliss. The next one is undoubtedly Sui. I've been speaking about Sui for some time. Now, the only thing about Sui here right now is we do have to be temporarily cautious, okay? We are finding support on this 10 moving average. So we could pull back a little bit, like 25, 30 cents. It wouldn't be a train smash. Even if we pulled all the way back down to like $2.40, 50, that is okay. The stochastic is pointing down, but the MACD is pointing up. I believe with probably capitulate within this triangle pattern here somewhere, and then break off and start to explode. The next one is Pepe, however you say it. Now, this is an incredibly interesting one. Forget everything else. You can see on the MACD on the M2 for all of these coins that I have just shared with you, that they are pumping up. That's just what it is. We are about to head into a massive liquidity tsunami moment in this cycle. So here we go. The stochastic getting ready to cross over. It is crossing over and getting ready to make a pump. We have a bull flag pattern busy resolving itself, and we have a little bit of a turn down on the MACD, but that's not that serious. Even if we pulled down to the 200 back down here, yes, we would probably compromise the bull flag pattern here, but I really believe that this is a moment where we'll be obviously looking where to enter in a trade. And of course, I'm also buying these things on some of these things, not all of them, a lot of them that I do continuously speak about on spot. It's just amazing to do so. Use my Bybit link down below. The next one is Say. Say is in the same position. Say has not even had its run yet. Look at what it's going to do. It's going to literally go absolutely vertical, and the stochastic and the MACD are telling us that too. So any moment we get above this 200 moving average here right now, okay, we need to get above the 200. We're somewhat below the 100 and in between the 100 and the 50. We need to get above, right back here. You can see we've hit a level of resistance. The moment we get up above this 30 cents level here, Say is going to play. Okay, massive, massive gains on Say coming up for sure. Make sure you are positioned. Next one, of course, I just told you about XRP and Hyperliquid, how much I sold. Now, I sold my XRP and I bought this down here on this candle. We did speak about that on my video, right? So I've had all of this massive gain here. Yes, it's pulled back a little bit. It's okay, all right? We've pulled back like whatever percentage that is, probably like 20, 30%. Let's see. There you go, 20%, okay? I'm okay with that. Even if we're going to pull down to this level, 27 odd, okay? It's okay. But again, I believe we're going to find support here on the 10 moving average. And how ironic does it line up literally with that support level at 30? So I don't think we're going to go below 30. All right, that's just what it is. The next one is Cardano. Cardano's stochastic and MACD are in exactly the same position. However, Cardano has a little bit of a different challenge. Cardano is in this down sloping trend. It has to break up above this current resistance point right here. Call it 80 cents. It needs to get, in fact, it needs to get above the dollar level. The dollar level is where my mark is, okay? Without it getting back up above the dollar level, I don't know where we're going to go with Cardano, but I believe we could see at least a $5 to $6, maybe up to $8 on Cardano. That still means that from where we are could potentially give us like an 8 to 10x. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And the last and final, of course, chart that I need to share with you is the total 3. The total 3, we've had the stochastic crossover. The MACD is coming out. This is on the 3-week time frame even. Let's pull it down even to the weekly time frame. Would you like that? Let's pull it down to the weekly time frame. The weekly time frame tells us we're a little bit oversold on the stochastic, but the MACD is getting ready to pump. Now, yes, they're both momentum oscillators, okay? But have a look at the 10 where we're at. Maybe we pull back down to the 10, but we've already done that twice. My intuition tells me, and yes, you can't trade and you can't trust me on intuition. Trust your own intuition. I'm just guiding you on the signals that we are currently seeing, and the M2 is one of the biggest out of all of them, okay? So for me, we're at a pinnacle point. Once we do get out of this zone, look at how the liquidity at this point hovers into altcoins. It's not entirely ready for altcoin season just yet, okay? But it is loading, okay? Let Bitcoin finish off the most part of its rally, take profits out into Ethereum, and I mean, personally, I'm not selling any Bitcoin. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. You already know that. I'm a very strict investor into Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, you need to be able to take profits on all the other coins. I don't know where they're going to be. I can't tell you. Nobody actually knows, and nobody can predict any of that. However, when there are massive institutions like BlackRock and Fidelity and JP Morgan and all these others that have been blah, 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 blah all the time, okay, they are all heavily investing into cryptocurrency, especially for real world asset digital technologies and transactional technologies, which means that all of the stock exchange, all of property, all of the businesses, everything will eventually end up in some sort of digital cryptographic scenario. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you are absolutely subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community. And thank you for being here with me once again. Make sure to use my Bybit link down below. Get yourself up to $30,000 deposits and trade with me. We are at the pinnacle point. Look at this beautiful Bollinger Band. The tighter we squeeze, the harder the elastic. And I can tell you right now, I don't believe we're going down anymore. Okay, I just don't see it. Today, I'd love to see these candles close a little bit in the green. That would confirm to me the absolute explosion that we could possibly see coming up into this weekend and beyond. Thanks for being here with me. See you on the next one.